All right, so here we are at the Livermore Crit. This is the second time I've done the Livermore Crit. Today I kind of came out here with a team, which is pretty fun. Right out the front here is one of my teammates, Noah, in the white kit. He's like directly in front of me. I'm out here with a couple of other guys. We've got Tien, Josh, and Seth. All of those guys are folks I ride with on the regular with this group, Major Taylor, in the East Bay. And so we came out to this race ready to roll. And we came out with a plan to do some tactics. So let's jump right into it. So this is right after the first lap. We had talked before the race about trying to do some flyers off the front. We wanted to do a breakaway group. And we figured that because we were not all wearing the same jersey, that we might be able to sneak away and that folks wouldn't know. So Noah is up ahead of me here. And so we're gonna start to try and make our way towards the front of the pack. Just as some hindsight, some of the other options we thought about were like attacking right from the gun, or waiting until later in the race to try it. But ultimately we settled on trying to attack early because we figured folks might not be ready. So here goes Noah. So he's coming up the side of the train here, putting in some good power, and we're trying to just get away from the field. I guess that, yeah, this actually wasn't where we fully started the attack, but we're just making our way to the front. So just for reference for folks who are wondering, so my FTP is about 260, I weigh about 165 pounds, so my watts per kilo is right around 3.5. And this is, I think, my 5th or 6th crit ever. I started racing them this season. All right, so here goes Noah. We're starting to pull up the side here. I'm sitting in his draft. We're doing, some pretty solid effort to get to this point. My max heart rate is 189 beats per minute. So when you're getting up to 175, 180, it's getting hard. So just watching this, one of the things I'm noticing is there was never like a definitive break that we did. It was more like a gradual, maybe like pedal away situation, which we will see how that works. So I kind of yell for Noah to take a turn in rotation here so I can do a little pull, so he pulls off. And we're kind of mobbing through this section, 31 miles an hour. Okay, and then here comes Seth. So Seth is also one of the guys on our team, super strong. So he just blasts by. I'm struggling to try and keep on his wheel. We're like 33 miles an hour here. So, this is hard. We're working hard and we're feeling it, but it, seems like maybe it is a semi-successful thing. So, trying to commit with the watts that I can do. So right around this point though, start to look around and start to realize that we haven't dropped the field. Instead, the field is like right on us, but it's like strung out. So we've turned it into a one-line race, and so we decide here to kind of back it off, and so fade from some of the efforts. But it was good. And then here's Josh here on the left in the color kit with the blue bike. So kind of just fade back into the pack here, but that's not the only tactic for today. We try some other stuff as well. So let's take a next look. In this race, there were about 40 people in the CAT 5 field, and I think another 10 or 12 in the novice 40 plus. So all in all, there was right around 50 people. So a solid group, about the same size as the Land Park Crit a couple of weeks ago. So here we come. So this is breakaway effort number 2. So at this point, we are maybe a third, maybe halfway through the race. And you can see that it's starting to bunch up. We're like, maybe 5 or 6 people wide at this point. And so I was noticing that this was happening, and I was trying to get to the outside here. I've got my teammate in front of me right now. This is Tien. He's got the Pearl Izumi shorts and the white kit directly in front of me. And we can see there's this open alley right here. So I just try to snap and go for it to see what's gonna happen. So kind of jam here. And I really commit some energy to this to try and stay away. This is a pretty big effort for me. And I didn't look back to see if anyone was coming with me. I just sort of put my head down and started jamming, and made it around this corner, and then I started to hear some people, but I couldn't really tell what was happening. I was hurting. My heart rate got up to 182, which is a lot for me. So then I see Josh go, and then this guy in the Cal kit. So it seems like something is happening. And then this big dude over here in the white jersey with the blue bib shorts. This dude was just like a freight train, man. Like he yelled, he's like, let's go for it. And he just started drilling, and you'll see he took a huge pull, and he was doing so much work. And this part right here was like so painful. I was already gassed from trying to get the break, and so I'm just trying to claw back this like bike and a half length, you know, doing like, you know, 450, 500 watts, which again for me is a ton. Just trying to like drag myself into the draft so that I can save some energy, but I just don't have any more kick that I can give to bridge up to it. Kind of slowly sort of make my way up to it. So we pull through this corner here, and look at that, you know, hit 29 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. Got some really good speed here. Finally make my way back into Seth's draft, and I'm still doing like, you know, a decent amount of work. And actually I could have been closer, but some lapped riders that we kind of had to swerve around. And you know, so this seems kind of promising. It's like, oh, this actually might be a move that has made its way away from the pack. One thing here though that I did not do, which I probably should be doing more of, is like looking back and checking. This is the first time that I've done like an intentional breakaway like this, and so it feels sketchy to do, and I was just trying to focus on, you know, successfully doing the break. But you know, we're here, Seth's taking a big pull, and I think I looked back around this point and realized that again, we haven't fully dropped the pack. We have just turned it into a strung out line, and you can see the speed's dropped to 22 miles an hour, and so at this point I just kind of fade and go back into the pack. There goes Josh again. So Josh and Seth are off the front here, and I'm just trying to rest and get my heart rate back down. I'm pretty happy. Like, you know, you can see my heart rate was at 181, 182, and now it's down to 173. It is recovering more quickly from efforts, which has been just nice to see that is actually happening, which is great. Okay, so in these next couple clips, I want to just highlight some of the chaos that happens in Cat 5 races, not in crashes, but just like how things can balloon out if there's not enough speed. So you can see we're only going like 24 miles an hour in this section, and we're like 9 wide, and there's a corner coming up. So, you know, you get this close to the corner and everybody's like, oh shit, like there's people on my left, people on my right, how's this gonna go? And we all just kind of like lean into it and hope. Unfortunately, like people held their lines. It wasn't like too bad, but it was sketchy. Here's another example. You know, we're more than halfway through the race. It slowed down, and we're just taking massively wide, you know, turns as a pack, and it's not great. All right, so this is an example of just making up some place. So I'm sort of in the back here, and I want to make up wheels because we're getting close to the end. So I just put some gas on during a section where we bunched up, and you can see I'm making up like, look, 15, 20, I mean maybe 30 wheels. Like I went from the back of the pack to being in the top 10 or 15 in the span of like 10 seconds with a fairly minimal expenditure of energy. And this is actually right before the, so this was a couple laps before the last lap. And so now we're coming into the last lap, and I'm in a fairly decent position here. I think I'm maybe 15th or 20th wheel. And you know, I'm feeling good. I'm trying to look for wheels to stay to draft on, but I'm also trying to move up. So there's a TN on my right there, I think. So moving up here, this guy with the Cannondale bike, I felt like I could get a little more speed, so I kind of punch around him a little bit. Sitting out in the wind here, which I'm not a huge fan of. In hindsight, probably would not have done that, but oh well. Find this guy who's a pretty good draft with the RCC jersey. And yeah, in the top 10, coming into this like 3 corners to go. So Noah, my teammate, is off the front. I think in his mind he was like trying to drill it to stretch it out a little bit, but I think he was just kind of sitting out in the wind and hurting himself. And anyways, we'll see how that works out in the end here. So we're coming around this last section. Actually, we're not coming around the last section. This is the headwind section. So we've got wind sort of blowing towards us here. And we start to get swarmed like a little bit. It's not terrible, but there's people coming up on both the left and the right sides, which is definitely not ideal. There was like no control at the front. So, you know, kind of a broken incentive system. Like nobody wants to work hard, and so we get swarmed. All right, so here we go. So people are starting their sprint. They're trying to get in position. So again, I start to wind it up. I'm trying to make up some wheels here coming into the last corner. This guy on my right, we're kind of like battling it out for these last two corners. So he pulls it ahead. I kind of slot into his draft here, and we're coming up to the last corner. This corner for me worked better going wide. You could just like carry more speed out of it. So do that, stand up, start to sprint, hit 1,000 watts, and then kind of spike at 800-ish, and then there it is. So finished 8th place in my category. So consistently getting better, which always feels great. The team did well, and we're stoked to do some more. So not sure when the next crit that I'm gonna be able to do is, but excited about racing, excited about the progress and seeing the fitness turn into the results. One of these days it's gonna be a podium finish, so stay tuned. Oh, and subscribe. I'm a YouTuber, I guess. Hit that subscribe button. Jesus.